jump in the back of the pickup truck and join us for a ride back to the good old days.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
A nostalgic podcast based on entertainment and memories from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Come with us and revisit the best time ever. So jump on your BMX bike, pop a heavy metal tape into your Walkman, and hang on tight while you go back to the past with us.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Captain, how soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
Or can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
No, I mean, we can't land for another 2 hours. Fog has closed down everything this side of the mountains. We've got to get through to Chicago.
Hey, all, welcome to Pastimes at 80's High. Got another great episode for you today. We're going to do our top 7 comedy movies from the 1980s. This is going to be, after this one, we're going to narrow it down and get into some subgenres because we realized how incredibly impossible this is. But we're running with it anyway, and these are our favorites today, I shall say, because they can change by the minute. And I'm here with Donnie, Kevin, and Mark. How you doing, boys?
Excellent.
Hello.
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
All right. And just to not waste any time, we're going to give Mark the honors today, and we're going to get going right on the list.
All right, boys. My number 7 choice is Teen Wolf from 1985, directed by Rob Daniel. Michael J. Fox stars in this film. He plays Scott Howard. I don't know if he's related to the Three Stooges or not, but anyway, this movie is, he is kind of a nerdy kid. He's on the basketball team, not very good, and well, he doesn't know the secret that his dad has kept from him, and that he's actually a werewolf, for God's sakes. The guy's a werewolf.
Spoiler alert.
All right, well, you know what? If you haven't seen the movie, it's from 1985. We're talking, 40 years from, 39 years ago. So I'm not worried about spoiler alerts.
A little sarcasm there, Mark. That's
Okay. Well, anyway. Well, thank you very much. So he becomes a werewolf, and he's out on the basketball court, and he turns into that, and everyone's like incredibly stunned, obviously. And next thing you know, he's out there slam dunking all over the place, and his teammates are scared. He says, "Come on, boys!" And all of a sudden, the place is nuts. He's the big man on campus. He's breaking out all the moves on the dance floor, and after a while, they get a little tired of him. His head gets too big for his britches, if you will.
Cocky.
Yep.
He gets too cocky, and well, you know what? I don't remember if this was the championship game. It's hard to find these things. Anyway, he plays as a human being in the last game of the year, and he makes the shots at the end, and they win. And you know what? It was a happy ending. I don't know what he's going to do with his werewolfness.
The moral of the story is just be yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's my number 7 pick, and I really enjoyed it. And there
Great
you go.
pick.
That's
and
an
that
excellent
one
pick.
didn't even show up on my search. But what a great movie it was. And that's where we all learned the safeness of van surfing.
Yes. Urban surfing was
good old
highly recommended
Styles
back in the
and-
day, and a good time.
Anyway, what a great pick, Mark.
Yeah.
And I just can't move to mine without saying this. The most spectacular thing about that entire movie to me is Styles with his shirt saying, "What are you looking at, dick nose?"
Yes. I think we need to print those up again.
What a line.
So number 7 to me, and I could not leave this off my list. I don't even know if anyone will know this movie, but it's very important to me, and it's from 1987, and the movie's called Can't Buy Me Love. What do you? My buddy's laughing at me. But,
I watched it last weekend.
oh, nice. It's just one of my all-time favorites. Coming of age, geek to chic, and just, I don't know. It's a feel-good movie that just, at the time in my life, I enjoyed watching it, and I watched it over and over, and there's some great acting in it. And just, that's where we see Seth Green for the first time, right? Yes. Right? The younger brother, and God, I forget the guy's name, the red Malachi from Children of the Corn.
Also, Hard Bodies.
Yes. And, you shit on my house, and just, it's, everything about it to me, it was just such a, unbelievable thing. But anyway, so I just couldn't leave it out, and I had to leave out so many friggin' movies on this list, but that one I couldn't. It's just really important to me. So I will go number 7 to you, Donald.
Thank you, and I like that you chose something that was really near and dear to you.
Yes.
So my first pick was in 1984, and doing some research for this, 1984 seemed to have been one of the greatest years in comedy. It was just amazing. It was a ton of movies.
Question.
But I'm going with Revenge of the Nerds.
Indeed.
Indeed. Yes. There were so many funny scenes. Like I went with the comedies that made me laugh out loud. There's a lot of funny comedies that you kind of giggle at, and it's a good story, but these make you laugh out loud.
Damn right.
Revenge of the Nerds was one of them with, so many one-liners like pan down, we've got Bush. We've got, and anybody who's ever grown up as kind of a nerd, kind of related.
I wouldn't
to
have
it.
any idea what that is. So for me,
and John Goodman in the locker room speech, you just got your asses beat by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Well, look at you now.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Was it the first one at the end with the nerd?
Spectacular.
The nerd is with the hot blonde that's doing the kissing machine thing, and all this kissing is making me horny. And then the nerd goes in and bangs her.
Yep,
and he's pretty damn good.
Nerds beat the jocks.
All the jocks ever do is think about sports. All we ever think about is sex, and she stayed with him and dumped the friggin' snob. Yeah, thank you.
Ogre, the booger. So many great characters.
Lamar. And the man on the mic, that's me, Lamar.
with his they recreated his javelin.
He's the one that did all the sounds, right?
Yeah. All right. So where are we here? Number 7 to you, Kevin.
7. All right. Well, nobody's probably ever heard of this movie, but I grabbed it for really its longevity and its relatability, because it's something that we've all experienced and continue to experience every year. That would be 1989's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Of course.
Because it's, like Donnie said, the movies that just made you laugh out loud. And some of these movies, like Revenge of the Nerds, do you watch Revenge of the Nerds every year? I'm not shitting on Revenge of the Nerds, but literally, I look forward to every Christmas when I'm wrapping Christmas presents, and it's on every channel, over and over again. But I'll put it on, and I'll start wrapping presents, and when it gets to the part where he's in the department store, and the woman's showing him how her panties don't have any lines, and he's just being Chevy Chase. And he's like, and Rusty walks up. He's like, "See, Rusty, no lines," and it just breaks me up every time.
You're right. That's an every year movie.
Oh, yeah.
Every year you kind of find something new that you
exactly.
It's like, oh my God, I didn't catch that, and it's like I've watched it 10 times.
Yes, yeah.
But I love the part when he's at his business and he's shaking everybody's hands like, Merry Christmas, kiss my ass.
What a great part.
That's a huge tree, Griswold. What are you going to do with a tree that size?
I mean, all
bend
the
over,
stuff
I'll
with,
show you.
Shitters full. And,
just every line.
There's an RV.
The neighbors with Elaine from Seinfeld. And
Margot.
Just the end when, you know what? I won't say anymore just in case someone has it. Right. But, great movie. All right, so we are up to number 6 for you, brother.
All right, this movie, you guys all know it. It's called This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
These go to 11.
Yeah, it's produced by, well, I know him as Meathead. His real name is Rob Reiner. Not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. This was a great movie with Christopher.
One of his classics.
Christopher
Absolutely.
Guest, Michael McKean,
Yes.
Harry Shearer. One of the guys was from Laverne and Shirley, if I remember.
Michael McKean.
Michael McKean,
Yeah.
yes.
Michael
Lenny.
Lenny.
yeah.
Lenny.
So, but I mean, there was. I felt bad for the drummers because it was a suicide pact to become a drummer for this band, and it's
He
just
choked on his own vomit. Well, you can't prove that it's his own vomit. You can't dust for vomit, can you?
yeah. But I always felt bad for their their food. Everything was folded.
Folded. Look at this. It's so small. Like, you have to fold it.
Yeah.
What a great movie, man.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was a fun band too. And Donnie, I don't know if you recall, like we were going to some show in Salisbury, Massachusetts, and there was a flyer up for Spinal Tap coming to play there. And I don't recall what that meant. If that was just a band that was like a tribute
cover
Yeah,
band,
like a tribute band, probably. Yeah.
but they weren't.
They did
weren't-
release an album, didn't they?
They released a couple of albums, and honestly, the musicianship from those guys, McKean
They were-
especially,
they were
was,
real
was
musicians
a very
then.
talented musician. So is Harry Shearer, and Christopher Guest. Yeah, absolutely, all very talented musicians in many different musical genres as well.
Yes. Oh, what a great pick, man. What a classic. And they are, in fact, releasing a sequel next year.
Allegedly.
I heard that. Allegedly.
Allegedly. But is it Headstone? Am I saying that right?
Stonehenge?
Thank you. I got it.
Oh, when
backwards.
it came from the
When
ceiling.
that comes down, and
it's in
a
danger
foot-
of being trampled by a dwarf.
I remember those guys.
You clearly wrote here 12 inches, 12 feet.
Oh, that was awesome. All right, great pick. Number 6 to me. I'm going to 1986, and I am going with Back to School. All right.
Great one. Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield,
I tell you.
Sam Kinison in this, just Robert Downey Jr., Derek Lutz,
Yep.
and what's his name, man? Burt Young. Oh, Lou. Girls, this is Lou. Lou, these are girls. Just what a classic movie about, him going to college with his son. His son, of course, hates it like any kid would hate his father being around. But, you got Billy Zabka as the dickhead jock. He was perfect in those days. I mean, I can't
got a
say
cramp.
enough.
Oh, one of my favorite scenes
A really bad cramp.
was Sam Kinison. Is he right? Is he right? Because I was up to my knees
In rice patties. Slugging it.
Say it. Say it.
Well, pussies like you. Oh,
Listen to the Beatles.
All right, I'll say it.
listen to the goddamn Beatles albums.
Truman was too much of a pussy.
Yeah. And he loved him after that.
Yeah. Good answer. Good answer.
Yes. What a great friggin' movie. All right.
She's going to help me straighten out my lung, fella.
Yeah, that's on my list. I didn't say it.
Good
damn it.
teacher. Good teacher. Very
Scuba diving in the hot tub.
What are you doing on Tuesday? You want to go out? I can't go out on Tuesday. I got class. What about Wednesday? I can't go out on Wednesday. I got class. Hey, call me when you ain't got no class.
Exactly. All right. Number 6 to you, Dongo.
Oh, it's me. All right. So number 6 is I'm going to 1980 and kind of like the beginning of a genre of movies, Airplane. The slapstick type of movies, just over the top comedy. I mean, Airplane had it all. A comedy that probably wouldn't be okay today, but back then it was, very funny. Like, excuse me, I speak jive.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know no mofo shit, golly.
Shit. And when they said shit, it said golly in the subtitle.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
This is going to be great because I have a feeling that multiple people may have this one, and the quotes will be endless.
Okay,
God.
so
I need you to come up to the cockpit. What is it? It's a small room where the pilot sits, but that's not important right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Cool.
Donnie, classic pick.
Yeah.
So do you, Kev?
All right. So my number 6, and again, we're talking about what's appropriate these days. And I struggled because this is somebody whose actions in the last 20 or 30 years that have been revealed, I don't agree with. But how I rationalized it is that I got enjoyment from what he did. So it was part of my life. And the fact that he is a freak doesn't matter.
No, you can appreciate
Woody
the art.
Allen, don't agree with who he is and what he's done, but at the time we were unaware of that. He made a movie back in 1983 called Zelig. And so many people missed it. It was
Including me.
Yeah,
right.
you always come up with a good, like, I got to check that out.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think you should because it's if you can find it anywhere. The basic synopsis of the movie is that he is, and I think we can all relate to it a little bit. He's a character. It's done in the form of like a 20s newsreel about this character that literally changes into the dynamic characters that he meets. So like one of the at the beginning of it, he's talking to like some Bostonian blue bloods and starts talking like them and then starts looking like them. And then the guy that's observing him sees him in the kitchen talking to the help and he starts turning into them to the point where at like, as the movie progresses, he like will be talking to somebody who's very much overweight and he literally becomes larger.
So he basically is a
very
chameleon. Like
interesting.
A chameleon is
Yeah.
the exact word.
Yeah.
But I
Very.
think we all do that because we all have
Absolutely.
groups of friends, groups of people,
Yeah.
whatever social aspect that we're or situation that we're in, we always kind of tune ourselves,
Change.
or at
Who
least
doesn't?
anybody
Well,
with
I
any
have that.
self-awareness.
Like, if someone's talking in an accent, I will start to.
I
mimic it.
absolutely
I
do
know,
the
isn't
same
it
thing.
crazy?
Yeah.
Absolutely do the same thing. That's why
We all do.
with all that was out there for these movies, I saw this one come up in 83 and I just remembered it. It's been years since I've seen it, but I just remember that being just brilliance
Oh, it's
on
brilliant.
his part.
And something you said, like Woody Allen, you know, you have to separate the man from the art. And
Yeah.
there's so many.
Kind of like I did with
there's
Rob
so
Reiner,
many,
right?
Right. And there's so many, like Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, that you can, the list goes on of
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
maybe had less moral character, but their art was, you know, you have to
Right.
appreciate the art.
And I guess that's how it comes to, because that was, even though it was something they created, it was about my experience
Right.
with that,
Yeah.
not about who that individual was, because obviously I disagree with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, something you
Very
have to
interesting.
you have to
Right.
separate. But
Definitely
definitely,
need to
if you can
check it
find
out.
it anywhere, I would highly recommend checking out that movie because it's just
Zelig?
It's Zelig, Zelig.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome pick, man. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, because Woody Allen has massive,
Millions of movies.
Lots
Yes.
Tons.
Great.
Yes. All right. Where are we?
yeah.
Number 5. Number 5, Mark.
No. Caddyshack, 1980.
Man.
Great movie. Great cast. You got Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray, Michael Keefe, Ted Knight.
Unbelievable movie.
Yeah.
In fact, Dad was when in his last days when we were playing pool, he would be going no.
Every shot.
See the ball,
at
Danny?
Like I have
Be the
a
ball.
mole that is terrorizing my lawn, and every time I go after that little bastard, I'm like, I'm going to get that gopher. I'm going to get that gopher.
Well, that son of a bitch.
Carl, I need you to kill all the golfers.
Well, my wife
Kill all the
loved-
golfers, sir.
loves that part when they bring on that. Who did that song? I'm all right.
Kenny Loggins.
All right.
Kenny Loggins. Yeah.
Yeah, and what is it? It's the gopher.
The
that's
gopher
dancing.
dancing, just kicking Bill
Yeah.
Murray's ass and
Yep.
everything. And
Yep.
loved it when Ted Knight was out playing golf, having the night of his life, or the day of his life, and of course, I've had better food at the ballpark.
Tell the chef this is low-grade dog food.
I love Rodney Dangerfield.
What a great
Now I
pick,
know what
brother.
tigers eat their young.
That might be picked by
No one else will pick that at all.
Oh, sure. So I'm gonna not go too much further than that. So
Awesome. Well, I'm going to lead off with saying that was my hardest removal. I did remove it from my list. Yes, this is a spoiler alert, but God, what a great movie and such a difficult thing for me to leave out. Another thing Dad used to always say was, take drugs, Danny?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Every day? Yes, sir. Good.
Yeah, we did that a lot.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah.
All right. So number 5 to me, and here's one that I know the two of you know, Kevin and Donnie, because you and I watched it, Donnie, and I showed it to Kevin a few years back. Most people probably don't recall it. It's 1984, and it's a movie called Night Patrol. And it is just one of the dumbest fucking movies that you've ever seen in your life. It had Linda Blair in it, you know, the girl from The Exorcist. And just, it was...
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah.
The poor woman pigeonholed after that. Right? Jeez. Oh, you're the girl from with the demon.
Yeah, they absolutely play off that in this movie, but I meant to lead off with pretending it was a Superman movie because her name was Superman. One of my favorite lines in that movie was always, "What are you doing with your thumb on my steak?" I didn't want to drop it again. Then he comes out with the guy's soup, and he's got his thumb in the soup, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing with your thumb in my soup?" And he said, "My doctor, I got an infection. My doctor told me to keep it warm." And he says, "Well, why don't you go stick that thumb up your ass?" And he goes, "I do that when I'm back in the kitchen."
I do remember this
Classic
movie.
one-liners.
I do remember it.
Man.
Yes, and one more thing, just because I don't think anyone else is going to have this pick, but just the little, the chief of police was a little person, and he was friggin' hilarious. He's always saying, "Are you calling me a liar?" And yes, and he's always farting. And he just, when he's talking to Superman, he's like, "I'm tired of your crap. I don't want any more of your crap tonight. Crap tonight." And she's like, "Oh, I'm feeling weak." It's just such a, there's so many.
If you haven't seen it, it's one of those comedies that, you know, flew under the radar, but it's got some pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, it's nonstop laughter.
Highbrow comedy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Dongo, number 5 to you.
Number 5 to me is one that's just a, you know, classic. Love it. You know, kids banding together, doing stuff, and it was the Goonies.
Yes.
I love the Goonies. Classic, you know, with the, you know, all the people that were, you know, going to find the gold and all that stuff, and the pirates, and it was fun. It was a fun movie.
It was a
Chunk. I love Chunk.
Love Chunk.
Yeah.
Fun movie.
Yeah.
I struggled with it too.
Cobbletop was kind of scary, though, wasn't he?
Chester Copperpot.
Cobblepot.
Cobblepot, whatever.
He was. He had one eye.
One-eyed Willie.
Right?
Oh,
One-Eyed Willie. No,
One-Eyed-
Chester Cobblepot was the guy trying to find him originally,
Exactly.
right?
Yes. One-eyed Willie was the pirate.
But that's the movie we go back to and we think of riding our bikes around as kids and just living life and not being fucking scared of leaving our house.
Doing
you know
adventures.
what I mean?
You know, doing adventures with a gang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What a classic, man. Awesome pick, Donnie. Awesome. All right. Number 5 to you, Kev.
My name, Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Awesome.
Much like, and I was thinking about this today, much like Mark, I have serious disagreements with Meathead. But he has directed some of the greatest movies ever. So I will give him credit where credit is due. Princess Bride, I think if you had to pick a perfect movie,
Oh, yes.
I'd say it's pretty damn close because, I mean, there's humor, there's adventure, there's all of it is in there. The way that the story is told, you know, the grandfather reading the kid, it's so relatable. Are they going to kiss again? To the kid going, you're not going to finish it. Yeah, very young Fred Savage.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Yes.
Billy Crystal. I mean,
who was originally Andre. So this is amazing. So they wanted Andre the Giant for the movie. He had a wrestling match in Japan, I think. So the wrestling corporation,
WWF.
Well, you know, these wrestlers have tours of the Orient all the time.
Well, yeah, but it was like a $5 million gig, and they said he couldn't do it. The match ended up getting canceled. He was available to do it. The other option was originally Schwarzenegger.
Oh, wow.
For that role.
Oh, interesting.
And one of the people that auditioned for Buttercup, Whoopi Goldberg.
Huh.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine? I mean, it's just amazing. And the crazy thing was, it was a week before they started filming. Robin Wright was somehow discovered. They were sitting around. She came to the door of the house. They were with the author of the original book that was adapting it for film. The door opened up. The sun was shining behind her, and they were all like, "It's Princess Buttercup. It's her. It's Robin Wright."
So Whoopi Goldberg's like, pretty damn funny, but
Mandy Patinkin was my favorite.
Mandy Patinkin, yes.
And I didn't know that was him until years later. You know,
Fezzik said, "Go back to the beginning."
Like, what was he on? Like Criminal Minds or something?
Oh
like
yeah,
that? Yeah. Awesome. He's a great actor.
Yep.
And he was on. What was the one where he was like a CIA guy that was on?
He's been in a lot. His career changed quite drastically from what that was, but he did his mainstay.
He was awesome in that,
right? But his mainstay was theater.
Yeah,
I mean that's where he came from, and he was
which
big
was
on that.
Perfect for that movie too.
I do not think that word means what you think it means.
Story of rope, slow going. And when he's like fighting with him, and he's like,
when he's helping him up the cliff. That's one of the best scenes ever.
I will wait.
Right. Homeland, that's the show.
Homeland, what a great freaking show.
Wallace Shawn also was incredible that as Fezzik, you know.
Yes.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, just gonna say
inconceivable. I would, I would not put the poison in front of myself because I am Sicilian.
Marriage.
That's a great
your logic,
pop culture stuff. Yeah.
Your logic is dizzying, sir.
So where are we now? I forget. Are we
four to me?
Four to Mark.
Four to Mark.
Okay, my movie, which many would consider to be a sci-fi movie, but I don't think you can have a person with the name Biff and not be a comedy. It is Back to the Future, also
classic,
also starring Michael J. Fox with Christopher Lloyd, very funny man, and Leah Thompson. And this movie, as we know, they go back to the past. You know, the movie starts with a big white van with all these terrorists in it, and white vans. My daughter, she calls them creeper vans.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thrown in one, if you remember, Mark. But
my
go
God.
on.
So anyway, they go back to the past, and of course his mother finds him very dreamy. And McDreamy, and you know he's freaked out about it.
Different show, yeah.
Just a great movie. I wanted to watch it last night. I don't have all the best memories of it, but it's just a great film, and obviously Biff loses in the end, and I love
Biff.
What's that?
Poor Biff.
Yeah, I love Ignatowski.
Oh my God!
Star Child spelled backwards.
One of the greatest actors of all time in my.
No, it's not
comedy
true.
actors.
It's not true, but
no, from Taxi.
Yeah.
Why did you pick Ignatowski for your names? It's Star Child spelled backwards. No, it's not, Jim. Oh.
But what a great scientist. Unbelievable. He was so smart. His hair just shot everywhere.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's me and Kevin were saying we're really having trouble finding these movies without having
so many.
Yeah, but
to narrow them down.
But to even find them, to watch them again, to refresh so we could have more information.
Yeah.
A lot of the streaming services, they had nothing.
Yeah. Well, we have cable. We have all the apps. And then when you go to watch it on the app, you got to rent the movie. It's friggin' ridiculous
it is
nowadays.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Anything of any quality.
Yeah.
Yes, it's boy, do they got us by the balls. All right,
Right by the short hairs.
The cojones.
the cojones. Number 4 to me, 1983. Feeling good, Billy Ray?
Looking good,
Lewis.
Yes, and that would be Trading Places. One of my favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Mortimer, and Randolph Duke just doing the most amazing switch of all times, trying to take the poor man and put him in the rich man's shoes and vice versa. And what a cast they had to do this. Just one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. I won't go too in depth on it because I think everyone loves it. But just one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they ask Eddie Murphy, they say, I assume you're from a broken home. And he just says, yeah, it was broke. So what? Anyway, just an incredible, incredible movie. They're showing him how to, work the stock market with pork belly and,
Orange juice.
bacon and orange juice.
When they brought you in here, you was crying like a pussy. Yeah.
So where's your limo?
My limousine is out front, but you wouldn't understand that.
It's outside with my bitches. All right, Donald. I'll leave that one alone and go number 4 to you.
Number 4, again, like I said, 1984 was the greatest year in comedy. Is Bachelor Party. Tom Hanks. It was a movie that he probably would deny that he was in now.
Right.
He's been in so many big, blockbuster movies.
He was
Including
fucking
Big.
But
funny,
it was
though.
hilarious. It was a great movie. It had Tanya Katane, who was smoking hot. Yeah. And it just had so many classic one-liners and a bunch of dudes doing a bachelor party for their friend that's going to get married. And it starts off as kind of a lame party, and then it turns into a huge, huge party. And of course, there's always the nemesis, the ex-boyfriend that wants to win her back, and
Yes.
the rich dad, and it was so
The
many funny
antagonist.
things. Yeah, but there was a lot of classic lines in that. We're gonna have a bachelor party with chicks and guns and fire trucks.
Awesome pick, Don. So number 4 to you, Kev.
All right. Well, you can all get mad at me right now, you fucking bastards, because I am taking Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah.
Classic.
One of the funniest movies ever.
In history.
Quotable, hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Again, every time you watch it, you pick up something else.
I wouldn't know. I
Right.
tried to watch it yesterday and I couldn't find it. Couldn't even pay for it. Sorry.
Just like, again, you every time you watch it, you pick something up. His mother,
Hilarious.
looking at Mary Lou Henner. Now that you're part of the family, it's time I can tell you. I go both ways. It's like that on top of all the Roman Maroney,
Roman
all of that
Maroney's
stuff.
my favorite.
And that was, now that's another one. Talk about directors that had stellar movies. That was Amy Heckerling, who also did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which, I mean, 2 solid movies from that era. But just, and the crazy thing about Johnny Dangerously, I'm sure you've all run into this. A lot of people look at you and say, what?
I know.
They've
know.
never seen it. I'm
Because
like,
they can't get it on any.
It's a cult classic.
yeah. Yep. Absolutely fantastic movie.
gun sneaky bastard.
Oh my gosh. Great pick, Kevin. So where are we?
I go number 3.
Oh, Mark, you're starting. That's right. So number 3 to you, brother.
All right, this has already been picked. It's Airplane.
Nice.
A couple of my favorite parts are when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly known as Lou Alcindor, was getting harassed by this kid. I'm not him. And finally said,
Right.
"What do you think? You
I'm
tried to
busting
get
my ass up there every.
going up and down the court with Bob Lanier and Dave Cowens or whatever he was saying. That wasn't a good, a good imitation. But
You try getting out there. Yeah, that was one of the greatest scenes of all time.
And I really, I mean, the part with the girl was playing the guitar and the other guy, the other person just with
pulling the IV out of
everything going into her heart and everything. And then I really felt bad for, what was it? Who played? Was it Peter Graves that played the?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he had a huge drinking problem. He just could not get that liquid down his throat, and the poor guy there, he just drinking problem. Well, and then
Cross positions, everyone.
the poor guy that the wrong week to quit this and that, sniffing
Picked
glue.
the wrong week to sniff glue.
Or to quit sniffing glue. And So, but we've
the Bridges, the father.
Lloyd.
Lloyd is he's a perfect comedic actor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you make of this? I can make a hat. I can make a boat.
But it was just so many one-liners and
countless.
Yeah.
So funny thing is, I remember that I did mention it to AJ, and I don't know if either of you have, but that movie was a spoof of a 50s serious movie called 0 Hour.
Yeah, it was a disaster movie.
Right, exactly. If you get the chance, I mean, it's not the greatest movie in the world, but watching that movie, you see where they took all the pieces. The drinking problem.
Oh, interesting.
The woman panicking on the plane. There's so many. I mean, the whole thing about him with his squad going down. At the beginning of it, where
you can't even take it seriously because
his name is Stryker.
Airplane.
Yeah,
his name is Stryker in the original one. And so you sit there and you laugh hysterically at a very serious disaster movie.
Speaking of disaster movies, the 70s were just loaded with disaster movies.
The Poseidon Adventure.
Oh yeah, but Airport. I mean,
what could be more dangerous than being upside down in a boat with Shelley Winters? I mean,
right.
But I love that scene when they're like, "Get a hold of yourself," with a girl, and they smack her. Which, again, we do not condone domestic
Hitting
violence
people.
in any way.
if a broad hits me, I hit her back.
But that
Unless they
scene
deserve it.
was classic because she's like freaking out, and they're like, "Get a hold of yourself!" Slap.
But
and
that's
then there's
where
like
the
a
humor
line
was.
of
Nobody would
people
do that.
with like baseball bats and maces and
boxing gloves. I love it when the guy stabs himself in his stomach with his sword. The Japanese guy,
Self-emulating. What do you call
so
that? What do
bored.
you call it? Harry Carey or whatever.
Harry Carey.
Right, yeah.
This man needs a hospital. What is it? It's a large building with lots of sick people in it, but that's not important right now.
So where are we here?
You go number 4 to you, brother.
No,
Three.
Number
3, I meant.
three,
All
I
right, so I
believe.
don't. Yeah.
They're close. 4 and 3 are close.
All right. Well, number 3 to me, you fagging sneaky bastards who already wouldn't shut up about it, is Johnny Dangerously. One of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life, as Kevin has already said.
We still got
And
more
we
lines.
Have we have endless lines, which is just, I think of Dom DeLuise as the Pope, just with him handing over money. And just Roman Moroni is just the perfect character in this movie, and half the lines that my friends and I speak to each other, including this group here, throughout our lives. I mean, there's not a text that I don't lead off to Donnie or Kevin and say, "Hello, iceholes," or "Hello, bastages."
You corksuckers.
That's the other one. Yeah.
But his
Busting my
bastages.
bells.
But his courtroom speech is just impeccable. I would like to address the honorable members of the panel. And he's like, "Dear bastages, you have violated my fagging rights." And it's just spectacular. And then you have
The mouth on that guy.
Then you have, and that's Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Maroney
then-
gang,
Another one to me is when the priest is, pretending to be a priest and breaking Johnny out of jail towards the end.
Yeah.
And just everything he says, like, "When's the next bus?" Just the stupid fucking things. But anyway, a classic, very, very close to my top here. And it's part of my life.
Joe Piscopo. I mean, he's in there too. My
Danny
mother
Vernon.
hung me on a hook once.
I can't believe I forgot to talk about Joe. Incredible
You
character.
fucking
That's Vermin.
soul.
Vermin.
Danny Vernon.
Danny Vermin.
Yeah.
Or I mean, fucking Peter Boyle. I'm standing here with my freaking dork in my hand.
here with my dork.
Oh, there you are, you bald-headed beauty.
Yes. Incredible.
My wife used to be beautiful. Now she looks like him.
That's another great line right there. And the guy he points at is just like slovenly Italian guy. All right. Number 3 to you, Dongo.
All right, number 3 to me, again, is a 1984 year release date. And again, it's the greatest year in comedy movies, in my opinion, is Police Academy.
Yes, I'm so happy you picked it because I removed it.
Because there's a series of them, but the first one is by far the best. And, you know, I just,
Second
as a
one's
kid,
pretty close.
like I love doing sound effects, and the guy in that movie,
Oh, he was awesome.
you know, I did a lot of sound effects.
Yeah, he was in
Yep,
it.
yep.
Bobcat Gold.
What are you nuts? I'm a vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian. Yeah.
Just a classic movie, you know.
Incredible movie.
You know, them setting up these two guys to go to they unexpectedly into a bar they didn't expect to be into.
Oh, is that the Blue Oyster?
The Blue Oyster Bar.
That song will go down in history.
Gay bikers are in there, right?
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Number 3, we've done already, but we'll do it again.
And again, probably.
And again.
Again and again.
Again, one of the absolute funniest movies, and as Donald has pointed out, 1984 was just a stellar year for
Incredible.
comedy, but another one from the much maligned Meathead. This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
again, the movie was fantastic. Hello, Cleveland. But the music itself, these guys were talented. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I hear Big Bottom,
Oh,
just
my God.
lyrically and musically a great song
Yeah.
because you've got rhythm bass,
Got a
lead
driving
bass,
rhythm, yeah.
bass, you've got keyboard bass. And I can't remember, was it Stumpy was on the drums on that one? I
don't know. There was
I can't
like
remember which
16
one it
of
was.
them.
Yeah, there's a lot of drummers there, which is kind of funny because there's some truth to that, to the rock and roll. But having worked in the hospitality industry and hired bands and worked with a lot of musicians, that's almost not a mockumentary. It's almost a documentary. And it's amazing when you see these people that the movie is about that don't realize that it's about them.
Right? And it's very close.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's not too far from the truth.
Right.
There's a lot of truth in that movie.
Damn right. Awesome. Well, that's number 2 to you, brother.
All right, I have what you already picked, AJ, Back to School from 1986.
He was awesome in that.
I'm a huge Dangerfield fan. Sam Kinison was great in this movie.
Yeah.
Sadly, he passed away soon thereafter. Robert Downey Jr., Ned Beatty, and Sally Kellerman were in this movie.
Awesome. Yes.
And it's just a hilarious movie from beginning to end. One of my favorite parts is when he's doing all his final exams, and you have this snobbish professor,
yes.
and he's
a
out there.
bastard.
All I have is one question in 87 parts. And he nailed it. He graduated. He when that pencil neck geek had that cramp, the snob there, he came
Billy
in. And
Zab?
and he saved the day, and just a great movie.
Awesome.
Again, Dangerfield never got any respect, but he seems to
no respect.
he got some in this movie, which made me happy, and he found a very nice woman.
When he did the triple Lundy, was that?
It was a triple Lundy.
Linden.
Oh, is that what it was?
Which
I thought it was Lundy.
very real.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that was actually Rodney Dangerfield, not a stunt person.
No, Dangerfield doesn't.
When he did the fart things before he, the armpit farts. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he did really well with the ladies too, and
Yeah, he did in that one, absolutely.
Yep. So anyway, that's my number 2. We spoke on that, so I'm going to let it go to you, brother.
Definitely one of the 2 most memorable roles for Arnie, Keith Gordon, Arnie from Christine.
All right. Number 2 to me, I'm going to 1982, and I am so happy that I finally get to say something that no one else has picked, and it's actually important to me because you folks out there are listening to Pastimes at 80s High, and I have Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Just an incredible coming-of-age teenage movie where there were every sort of crowd and just so friggin' fun. You have 4 people in this movie, by the way, that won Best Actor.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking crazy when you look back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just everything about it. Spicoli was, of course, one of my favorites, but
one of the greatest
Damone
characters.
and Rat.
Damone.
Just everything about this movie.
Mr. Hand.
Oh, Mr. Hand. And then, of course, we cannot forget about Phoebe Cates.
Everyone loves Phoebe.
We talked about it with the cars, moving in stereo, just kicking in.
You cannot hear that song today
without seeing her tits.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Doesn't anybody knock anyone?
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
But that had to be near the top of my list because there's so many quotes from this movie. No shirts, no shoes, no ties.
Yeah.
Just, I'm in your history class. I see the globe right there. Hey, I know that dude.
Yeah.
Just everything about it. And
all I need is a cool buzz and a tasty wave, and I'm set.
I'm fine.
If I'm here and you're here, isn't it our time, Mr. Hahn?
Exactly. And I love that pizza, that fucking double cheese and sausage pizza looks so good when they snag it and he gives it out. But at the end, when he's going into the friggin' 7-Eleven or whatever it is, where Judge Reinhold is working and he has to use the bathroom, and he's like back there and he's like up that ramp. Just so stupid. And he just saves the day. Whatever. Fucking that movie is incredible.
Classic movie.
Start to finish, but they also touch on so many real life aspects of it. And I think the Oscars were Forrest Whitaker, Sean Penn, Eric Stoltz, and Nicolas Cage, I think, for Leaving Las Vegas.
Yes.
You know, who's in it for 10 seconds.
Exactly. And that's
2 seconds.
Anthony Edwards, Eric Stoltz, and Nick Cage are like maybe 7 seconds on screen combined.
Exactly.
And I mean, if those are your extras, as well as the writer's wife.
Yes.
From Heart.
She was the teacher, right?
No, she pulled up next to Hamilton when he's in the cruiser.
And he has the fish outfit on.
Right. And he looks over and she's looking at him and he's like, and he throws the pirate outfit out the window.
Just an incredible movie. Hence the name of this cast out there, everyone.
Exactly.
All right. Number
Namesake.
2 to you, Donald.
Number 2 to me is going to be Coming to America.
Yeah. We were questioning you when you went upstairs.
I know. I have to do it because it's one of those movies that we had so many back and forth growing up, like all the funny scenes, you know.
Yeah.
I always pull that, I just like your soul.
Yeah. I left it off my list, Donald.
I like me
for
good.
You.
Good. I like me good.
Please welcome to the stage, Sexual Chocolate.
This is my band, the Sexual Chocolate. Sexual chocolate.
Your rent's due, motherfucker. Don't be falling down the stairs shit on me.
I mean, Eddie Murphy played like 5 or 6 characters in that movie.
And
The
the same
barbershop was
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
Is Mama come play? I come play. Oh, one of the
See,
greatest.
they've got
those
the
scenes
they've got
were
the
awesome.
Big Mac. We've got the Big Mick.
Yeah.
At McDowell's. Louis Anderson.
That was James Evans.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
James Earl Evans. Yep, John Amos. Awesome. And Sam Jackson
Amos.
is the one who comes in
Good
with the
times.
shotgun.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, and he beats him up with the mop. Remember? I will be forced to thrash you. It's a damn shame what they did to that dog.
The royal penis is clean.
Oh, what a great pick, Donnie. I knew you were going to have
Awesome.
it. I saved it for you, my
Single
friend.
greatest thing that Arsenio Hall ever did.
Yeah.
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 Everything
Whatever
else,
happened to him?
not so much.
Whatever happened to him? He had his own show and he just
Yeah.
fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Well, you know, on the same token, all the respect, because Eddie Murphy in his time was one of the funniest human beings that ever lived. But
And then he
somehow
fell off
the
the planet.
funny fell out of the man.
Was
Yeah.
that with Norbit?
It's not there anymore. It's just
Yeah, something happened
it's
to
like
him.
even when he came out, like remember the Saturday Night Live 40-year anniversary
Yeah,
or whatever
it
it
was
was,
terrible.
and he came out and it was like, how do you cease to be humorous?
Funny. How do you
Does it
flop
have to
like
do with
that?
his be more of a family guy and he did?
I don't know, but
Nobody knows. He just
I don't think.
flopped.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've known AJ for 20 some odd years, and I feel I'm as unfunny as I was 20 years ago.
Right, but
and
we
so
haven't
is he.
changed.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
the same. So how do you go from being like
This
the
human
funniest
to
human
that.
on earth because you're still making the same observations?
Happened to Chevy Chase, too.
Yeah,
Saturday Night
absolutely.
Live,
Absolutely.
Delirious, Raw, all those Eddie
Oh, my
Murphy.
God.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop. Friggin'
Which
Best
nobody's
defense.
picked. But
Kidding.
I was going to talk about that because Beverly Hills Cop 1, great, awesome. 2, awesome. 3, what the hell happened?
Right.
Like
He
it was
did
like
Norbit.
the worst movie ever.
48 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry about the door there, Luther. That looked
Yeah,
real painful.
I mean that
as
was
shit.
a great. I wanted to pick that one
Yeah.
at one point, but
He fell off a
yeah.
cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's
I mean, he had
Maybe he stopped doing drugs
problems,
or
I think.
something. Who knows?
I don't.
I was
did he
actually-
ever? Was he?
I don't think he had drugs, but he had like a prostitute thing. Like,
Well, yeah,
where
he did like a
soliciting
like a he she or something
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, my question was actually about Arsenio Hall, but
Oh, right,
it makes sense for Eddie Murphy too. So that makes
yeah.
all right.
Well, because he was carrying Arsenio Hall, so
Yeah,
Right,
that makes-
exactly.
so if
all
he
right.
stopped
That
being
ties in
funny,
there.
then Arsenio stopped being
And
funny.
Arsenio had the talk show, and
Well, that's what I meant.
And the
Where,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
everyone had a talk show, and then that fell.
Yeah.
it
Do you
just
remember
got-
somebody used to do Carcinio? It was a I think it was Dana Carvey. It was a combination of Arsenio Hall and Johnny Carson.
It would have been perfect.
it was kind of like the Poison, the Warrant, the glam rock, and then all of a sudden
Grunge
out
comes
came
in.
the grunge, and
Yeah.
away
Right.
it went.
Yep.
Yep.
But I bet you those musicians could still make music. Eddie Murphy just fucking fell off.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
He did okay in some of the Disney stuff, like as a voice actor, but
Yeah. The
Oh,
donkey.
all right. Yeah.
yeah,
Donkey.
Mulan, and there was something else he did, but
Right.
Yeah, not
So
without
where-
talent, but
where
it's,
Yeah.
are we now? Are we at 2?
Yeah.
he
to
lost
Kevin.
He lost his edge.
he lost
Right.
the
Yeah,
edge.
he lost that edge.
Like audibly, like
Yeah.
the loudest losing of edge ever. So it's a deuce to me.
That's right.
So here we are at number 2 to you, Kevin.
Number 2 to me has been, I think, almost on everybody's list, if not everybody's. But still, I could not eliminate it. Like, well, you, AJ, you said you did eliminate it. I couldn't do it because it's a movie that you can watch over and over again and think of it watch it from different perspectives. It was originally written to be the story was about Danny Noonan, about a young man coming of age, yada yada yada, and they ended up getting all of these amazing comedic actors, whether Murray, Chase, Dangerfield, all of these guys came in, and Ted Knight. You can't forget Ted Knight because he
No.
is so beautiful. Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice. That's okay. You can owe me. I owe you nothing.
You marked my anchor.
You scratched my anchor. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you think you've got the stock market beat, but the man that's worthwhile is the man that can smile when his pants are too tight in the seat. Go ahead, Pookie. No, just an amazing movie, and they were smart enough to shift away from being that coming of age story about Noonan to just
Pure
focusing on the
comedy.
genius that was there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that it says in the anniversary, the special features that I always found interesting. So Dangerfield's career had started to wane a little bit. He wasn't doing as much and hadn't done movies. And so they were doing the scene on the fairway. And it was like the first day of shooting. And he's out doing his lines, which are absolutely, hey, we're all going to get laid. You know? And so he's doing all his lines and it's silent. And he walks over to the kid, and I can't think of his name, the one that plays the Italian kid.
Yeah.
You ain't I ain't paying 50 cents for no Coke. Yeah, you ain't getting no Coke. So he looks at him and goes, hey, kid, I'm dying out there. Nobody's laughing. I'm not funny anymore. And he goes, no, they can't laugh. They'll ruin the take. Everybody was busting at the seams because Dangerfield was so hilarious, but he thought he was bombing because people didn't want to ruin the take because it was gold, Jerry.
Because it wasn't stand-up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
He was used to that stand-up with the automatic feedback, that real-time feedback that you didn't get. Yeah. But can you imagine being, when you think of your own life and your own fragility and humility, think of being Rodney fucking Dangerfield and thinking you're not funny.
Oh my God, impossible.
That's insane to me.
Well,
the guy could read a fucking recipe off the back of a box of fucking, morsels or something, Nestle Toll House, and I'd fucking die laughing.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
And that is why Caddyshack is my number 2 pick.
Nice. And here we are, man. We are up to our number 1 picks. Drum roll to you, Mark.
All right, boys, you ready? Jade Levy, 1989. Jade Levy directed the movie, and I was thrilled to death when I looked it up, and I watched it in the early 90s, but it came out in 1989. It's a movie called You Motherfucking HF. I love that movie. It is special to me. Me and my brother David went back and forth with all these skits on this movie. Michael Richards was on this movie. He was Stanley Spadowski. He actually saved Uncle Nutsy's clubhouse. So the movie's basically about a fledgling UHF channel. So Weird Al Yankovic, he falls asleep when he's supposed to take his girlfriend and his girlfriend's parents out for birthday dinner. And he falls asleep and he's doing Money for Nothing. And he's singing it about the Beverly Hillbillies. That little Clampett, he's a millionaire. Nice. And of course, when he wakes up, he's like, oh my God. And he missed his girlfriend's birthday and she calls him up. From now on, you can miss all my birthdays because we're through. Oh my God, I love that movie, and it's a emotional pick too because
of course.
And you know what I one of my criteria when I pick these things, same with rock music. How often do I want to hear the song or watch the movie? And for a while, you couldn't get UHF on anything, but I could. But I would watch that movie over and over again. And it's sentimental to me because of Brother David, God rest his beautiful soul. So that was my number 1. So I'll let you Pencil Nut Geeks move on.
Awesome. So I knew you'd have that on your list, brother. So number 1 to me, and this is probably not going to be as much fun as it normally would be for me since everyone had it. Actually, Donnie, did you have Airplane?
Yes.
I did.
Yeah, so we've all had it.
I did not have Airplane.
Oh, you didn't have Airplane. All right.
Not that I'm dissing Airplane because it's a fantastic movie. But
so my number 1, clearly Airplane, and just it's one of the few movies that you can watch and not probably get through a full minute without something funny. It's just... There's
Whatever.
It's so fucking funny.
Oh, so many.
Everything
so
about
many.
it. Every one-liner. I mean, just one of my favorites of all time is, how soon do you think we can land? I don't know. Can't you take a guess? Well, not for another 2 hours. You can't take a guess for another 2 hours. Just shit like that. Or
I didn't have the fish.
what were the choices?
I forgot about that.
Well, we had chicken or fish. Yes, I remember. I had the lasagna. Just, there's just not 1 minute that goes by through this movie where it's not fucking hilarious.
It's genius because most movies spend a lot of time setting up the
building
joke,
up.
and this one just like a machine gun hits you with something funny. And again, like we talked about with these other movies, you go back and watch it 20 years later, and you're like, holy shit, I didn't catch
And
that
it's
one.
still funny,
and it's
yes.
still funny, but there's things that you didn't
Test
catch
of
the
time,
first
yeah.
time.
Because so many we go back to and we rewatch them now, and it's like, it's not as funny as I remember. But the one thing that I had to mention that I didn't realize until last night was the fact that Jonathan Banks, who played Mike Ehrmantraut on Breaking Bad, was one of the air traffic controllers in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
I never would have known that
Right.
if I was not researching this stuff, man. Because I had never really seen him before. I see him in stuff now after Breaking Bad, but prior to it, I wouldn't have had a clue. But man, how can you not know that voice?
Right.
Awesome. So that's number one to you, Donnie.
All right. Again, 1984. The greatest year in comedic movies, in my opinion. And how Fast Times at 80's High and Fast Times at Ridgemont High were AJ's namesake. This movie is my nickname's sake. And it had the long duck dong. Yes. 16 Candles. Classic movie, coming of age, dorks, jocks, high school experience that, I lived. And again, that's where I got my nickname Dongo, from the Donger. No more Yankee, my wanky. The Donga need food.
Sexy American girlfriend.
Sexy American girlfriend. I mean, it had John Cusack in this movie, his sister. All the kind of the Brat Pack were in this movie.
Incredible.
The Donger. That's right.
Well, but
which evolved into Dongo.
Right. In relation to the Donger, one of my favorite lines, again, going back watching that movie, was the grandfather when the Donger was missing, and he's on the phone to the police. And he's like, "Well, he's wearing a cardigan, and he's got some khaki pants on and some red No, he's not retarded.
That was hilarious.
Big Lake. And again, I'm not culturally appropriating, but they he was on ER a lot. And,
Yeah.
Wasn't he in the?
He was in UHF, I believe.
Yeah. Was it him that was in the Loki?
Yes, he was. He was
him.
the supply guy.
Yeah. He was like
He was handing out the whatever that time continuum thing was.
Yeah. As I said that, I was really hoping it wasn't Short Round.
Yeah.
It was tough. Like, there were so many John Hughes movies, and
John
I
Hughes
know
is awesome.
how many. I mean, once again, Weird Science was a tough cut for me.
Yes.
I know.
But God, we are going to get in. I mean, we will probably simply do a top 7 John Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
to
Absolutely.
rank
Yeah,
them.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So these subgenres, this is so wide for us out there, folks. So we are just, it's our first run on comedies, and we all realized, man, do we need to narrow this shit down?
Amen.
All right. So finish it off, Kev, with number one to you.
All right. My number one, I really kind of hope that any of you have seen this, but an absolutely hilarious film. British. I grew up PBS, Monty Python.
Oh, love the Monty Python.
This one, and the funny thing is, you can sit here and you can quote Life of Brian, you can quote Holy Grail. Everybody gets you. Everybody knows them. But I think the pinnacle of their work was the 1983 The Meaning of Life, which is absolutely a riotous movie. It is beyond the pale. It is absolutely insane and just true Monty Python unleashed.
Those guys had
Damn, I wish I could say I saw it.
classic.
You haven't seen
never
it?
seen it.
Somehow, some way, you need to see it because
shall.
it's so outrageous.
Monty Python, The Meaning of Life.
So there's one of the things. One of the there's musical numbers, and one of them starts off with a Protestant talking about how the Catholics are filling the world with people they can't feed because the Catholics, every time they have sex, they have to have a child. Yada yada yada.
Sex for procreation.
So the father
They have a
comes.
lot of kids.
The Catholic father comes home and tells the kids he's got to sell them for medical experiments because there's so many of them, and the kids are literally everywhere, coming out of the cupboards and whatever else. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of it, one of them drops out of the mother that's washing dishes, and she's like, "Get that, would you, Deirdre?" So, and then all the kids, as they're selling them for medical experiments, they all march out into the street and start this musical number, and the song is "Every Sperm is Sacred." Oh my God! And it's absolutely one of the best, and I don't care for musicals, one of the best musical numbers you'll ever see in your life. And it's just everything from Mr. Creosote exploding in the dining room. It's worth watching because it's absolutely bizarre and over the top, and the Monty Python troupe at, I think, the pinnacle of their work.
Nice.
Excellent.
All right.
I mean, I had Holy Grail on mine until I realized
70,
like it was
yeah.
late 70s or mid 70s, but I
those
don't know
guys could
why
write.
I think that one just came across my radar, and I thought it was one of the funniest friggin' movies I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
But then I never just went back and looked at the other ones. You know what I mean?
Right. And
I
a lot
like
of people
Benny
haven't.
Hill. I like Benny Hill.
I grew up with the Benny Hill.
Oh yeah,
Slapping the little bald old guy on the head.
My dad loved Benny Hill.
Absolutely. Yakety sax.
I guess I never gave English humor much of a chance. Maybe I should, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's absolutely different.
Acquired taste.
I mean,
It is an
I don't know.
acquired taste,
I mean,
it's witty.
like I said, I got it.
It's clever
I was
humor.
weaned on it
Yeah.
as a child. You know, we watched those
Yeah.
shows growing up, so that kind of the bizarreness of it
Push you into it.
kind of
and you got to see it.
Well, it didn't push me into it. It kind of formed my sense of humor.
They're smarter
a
than
part
us.
Yeah, but we have better teeth.
And they, there's a lot of history and suffering that they've gone through that builds into that humor.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the Pink Floyd line? Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. I mean, I think that my understanding of the Brits, that kind of embodies them.
Awesome, man. Well, that wraps it up. So perfect.
There it is. 0.00005% of the movies comedies that we loved in the 80s.
Yep, exactly. That's going to be a start, and we'll go from there to subgenres next time for certain, man, to narrow that down.
I can't think of that many submarine
At least
movies.
there's 7 of, or 28 of our favorites. We'll knock them down from the repeats, but all great movies in my opinion. And we'll go from there. But thank you all for listening. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you.
Yes, Kevin.
Thank you.
And my brother.
Thank you very much, people.
Yes. So that's going to be a wrap for today, and we are out.
I would like to direct this to the distinguished members of the panel. You lousy corksuckers, you have violated my Fargan rights. This Samanambachin country was founded so that the liberties of common patriotic citizens like me could not be taken away by a bunch of Fargan iceholes like yourselves. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Pastimes at 80s High. Our passion is the nostalgia from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. When times were more simple, times were more fun.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And and we weren't stuck in our phones all day.
Inconceivable!
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can send an email to pasttimes@80shigh@gmail.com and hit the website at pasttimes@80shigh.com. See you next time.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.